Don Vito Corleone was the most feared mafia boss in New York. Some called him the Godfather. Others called him the Don. It didn't matter to him what they called him. As long as it was with respect, he would accept it. In the early 70s, Don Vito wanted nothing more than to retire from his position as boss of the Corleone family and leave the violent world of organized crime. This was for two reasons. First, because he was old enough to be everyone's grandfather and didn't want to die a violent death. Second, because he knew that this world was dangerous not only for himself, but also for his children. For this reason, he had always tried to keep them out of it, but things didn't go as planned. Don Vito's youngest son, Michael, got pulled into the family business after his brother, Sonny, was killed, and the family was taken over by Michael. Michael was now the most feared boss in New York, striking fear into the hearts of both cops and criminals. But even though Michael had proven himself to be more than capable of continuing their family's legacy, he wished for something different. Unlike his father and his older brother, he didn't have the passion for the mafia life. The thing that drove Michael to become the ruthless boss was the fact that he was forced to. He had no choice. After Sonny's death, there was no one else who could protect the family but him. But now that he had proven himself, he could pass the mantle on to someone else without putting the family in danger. He just didn't know how to do it. You can't exactly walk up to a guy and say, "Hey, you're pretty good at killing people. Want to take over my criminal organization?" Michael needed someone who was both skilled and ambitious. Someone who would keep the family business running smoothly while he retired. He needed someone like Frito. Frito wasn't as smart as Michael, or as cunning as Sonny, but he was loyal and dependable. Most importantly, he had connections. After Sonny's death, Frito had gone to Cuba to meet with various smugglers and made men and had built up a small network of informants and allies. With some connections, Michael could turn Frito's network into a powerful criminal organization that could rival the Corleone family. That is, if Frito was willing to listen. Michael invited Frito for a private meeting. He knew that this was going to be a difficult conversation and didn't want anyone overhearing them. Ever since their father had been shot, he had kept a close eye on his brothers. Sonny was hot-headed and reckless, but Michael knew where his loyalties lay. Frito, on the other hand, had been acting strange ever since their father was shot. It wasn't just that he had gone to Cuba without telling anyone. When Michael had questioned him about it, he had lied to his face. At first, Michael had thought that it was because Frito was afraid of retaliation from the other families. But now he wasn't so sure. There was something about his youngest brother that was bothering him. And when he had Frito brought to his office, Michael knew that his suspicions were correct. Frito was shaking, his hands were clammy, and his eyes were darting around the room, as if expecting an attack at any moment. "What's wrong, Frito?" Michael asked, trying to sound calm. "Why did you come to see me?" I don't know," Frito stammered. I wanted to talk to you." "About what?" "About the family," Frito said. "I think it's time we did something about our father's enemies." "You know that we can't do that," Michael replied. "It would be suicide." "We have to do something," Frito insisted. "They took everything from us. They killed our father. We have to get even." Michael looked at his brother for a long moment. He knew that Frito was in pain. He had seen what had happened to his father and what it had done to the family, but this wasn't the way to solve it. He wasn't the boss back then, so he didn't say anything, but now he was. It was his job to keep the peace, not just for the family, but for himself too. Not who he didn't want to live a life of violence anymore. "Frito," Michael said finally, "our father was right when he told us not to get involved in this life. It's a dangerous game we play, one that I never wanted any of you boys to play. I know you love our father, and you want revenge for him, but this isn't the way." "But we have to do something," Frito insisted. "What do you suggest we do? Give them all our power, all the things our father worked for?" "No, I don't think so. We need to keep the family together," Michael said. "We need to be strong, united. If we let this war drag us down, then they win." "But the war isn't our fault," Frito protested. "It's theirs. They started it." "Two wrongs don't make a right, Frito," Michael said gently. "I know this isn't easy for you. I know you want revenge, but we can't do this." "Why not? We're the Corleones. We're supposed to be the most feared family in this city. Why are we hiding now?" "Because this isn't about strength, Frito," Michael said quietly. "It's about intelligence. It's about knowing when to strike and when to hold back. Our father taught us that. Do you think he became the most powerful boss in this city by starting wars he couldn't win? Of course not. He knew when to pick his battles and when to stay out of them. That's why he was successful. So what are we going to do? Let's watch them destroy everything our father built? Fredo asked angrily. That's not an option. Michael shook his head. No, it's not. But it's not war that will bring our father back, Fredo. It's remembering him that will do that. Remembering who he was and what he taught us. So what do we do? Fredo whispered. We wait, Michael replied softly. We wait for the right moment to strike. The right moment. Fredo looked at his brother for a long moment, trying to understand what he was saying. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, he whispered. Okay, I understand. We wait. Michael smiled sadly. He knew that this was going to be difficult for Fredo. His brother was a soldier, not a strategist. He liked to fight, not plot. But he trusted Fredo. He knew that his brother would do what needed to be done. He just hoped it wouldn't be too late. Meanwhile, the heads of the other 4 families were meeting together at a restaurant. They had all lost their capos, but they were still standing. And that was thanks to the efforts of their underbosses. The meeting was tense. None of them wanted to be the first to break the silence, to start the conflict that would either end in victory or defeat. Finally, it was Paulie who spoke up. What do we do about the Corleones? He asked. How do we punish them for what they did? They already paid the price, Paulie, Joe Colombo replied. Their capo is dead. Their soldiers are scattered. What more do you want? Revenge, Paulie growled. We have to get even for Frankie. There'll be time enough for that later, Joe said. Right now, we need to focus on staying alive. Michael Corleone is a dangerous man. I don't want to risk angering him. He won't dare touch us, Paul said confidently. He knows we'd wipe him out. Be careful what you wish for, Paul, Joe warned. Michael is a patient man. He'll wait until we're weak, and then he'll strike. I've seen it happen before. He's a snake, a deadly snake. Paul looked at Joe, then at the other bosses. They were all scared. They knew that Michael was dangerous. They couldn't let fear control them. They had to be brave. For their families, for themselves, so they made a plan. They would attack the Corleones, but they would do it slowly. They would chip away at them, taking out their soldiers, their associates, their businesses. They would bleed the family dry until there was nothing left. And then they would come for Michael.